Africa's largest quality building materials retailer, Cashbuild, says revenue rose 5% in its fourth quarter, reflecting a largely subdued residential building market in South Africa and, of course, in the economic activity that we're seeing on the ground. Cashbuild opened 30 new stores in its fourth quarter, contributing 3% to revenue growth, while its 178 existing stores increased revenue by 2%.
Cashbuild market cap 2.3 billion, price earnings 14.4, dividend yield 3. Chris, 6 come to you. I suppose this is a two-part story, and the one part is the housing market's under pressure and the consumers under pressure.
Exactly.
I thought they might be a little better because they're mostly cash customers, but it's still tough out there.
Well, the point is that I look at this and say you've already got quite a big, broad retail footprint, 178 stores, still expanding. When you've got such low growth, right, I would have thought that you'd actually conserve your resources, because opening in stores are actually quite cash.
Yeah, it takes a lot of cash to get them to stock them, inventory and the like.
And that kind of thing. So I'm not sure whether that's the right strategy in tough times, unless you know, I needed to look a little bit more in terms of their history. They're obviously still an expanding company, and I think they've got quite a decent market presence and footprint and that kind of thing. But to expand margins, for instance, in this kind of environment, not that easy. But I suspect where customers are cash strapped, etc., they would look to rather do a lower cost home improvement than a move, for instance, or an upgrade of their home. In other words, they would pick up before the actual housing market does as well.
They're going to more likely do it a DIY or a bucky brigade who's going to go to the
Exactly. That's basically where it is. So they're not in a completely bad position, but you could say that at the moment they're a bit in a wilderness at the moment, I think.
So, Bucky what?
Bucky Brigade.
Fantastic.
The Bucky builders.
Every day.
The Bucky
Okay, 13 new stores. Do you think that's wise in an environment which they say is subdued, and we saw revenue only increasing by 2%, or do you think they want to catch the economic upturn and be ready for it?
I'd agree with your latter point. I think they're positioning to catch the upturn, and as Chris mentioned, this is really the leading indicator that the housing market's going to turn, because if you're not going to be spending on purchasing a new house, you're going to be renovating your old one. And in fact, if you live in a house and you haven't renovated for 10 years or done any changes, then it's starting to fall apart. So that sort of spend will continue going forward. And just to mention, I was going through what I thought was a relatively sub-economic area of Cape Town on the weekend, and the size of houses there in certain parts were over 200 square meters. So people are definitely spending on expansion.
Put another room on them.
I think that we are close to a turning point for this business than most of us anticipate.
And threats from the Walmarts and the like. I mean, a lot of people saying, oh, Walmart's coming. It's back to your point of earlier. That's a year and a half away. Don't worry about it.
Well, Builders Warehouse is really for your upper income groups. This one focuses
more on your cash,
on your lower and sub-economic, and they're well positioned, so it's not expensive to transfer goods from their stores.
Isn't Walmart also target those similar people?
Excuse me?
Isn't Walmart set to target similar people?
Not with Builders Warehouse.
Not with building sand and building timbers and that kind of thing.
Sorry, I clearly am oblivious to building world.
You haven't built a house recently?
I haven't, no, not recently.
It's to me it's a different, it's slightly different to Builders Warehouse. In this sense,
They were saying in their update, and Chris, you mentioned it, margins stable, inflation 2%. We're not yet seeing strong inflation come through almost anywhere. And that's perhaps one of the flip sides, a positive side of the stronger for longer on the rand.
Exactly. With no inflation really in their particular business, any upturn does give them quite a bit of capacity to expand their margins. And that's probably one of the growth sides of the business. Where I'd be curious to see is the turnover per store of the new stores. Although it added 3% to the overall turnover, was it efficient, as a turnover per store thing, or is it, just more stores that would have reflected, 2% growth if it were already in the stable. You know, that's the area I would also.
Okay, and I mean, we know that they operate in Namibia, Lesotho, Botswana, Swaziland, Malawi,
Yes.
sort of that African spin to it as well. On that premise, hot or not for you?
I would say hot, but on a 2-year view. You're not going to see the benefits. It really is a buy and hold. You're not going to see the benefits for the next 6 months, but I think those benefits will start flowing through next year.
Slightly too early to get in, or would you say get in now, or you've got some
Slightly
time?
too early to get in.
Okay.
But it certainly is one of those stocks that's got a 4% operating margin, and that margin just goes to 5.5. You've got a big kicker in terms of your earnings growth.
Yeah, that is my take as well. You really have to take the view. Are we seeing a double dip or a renewed growth? Okay, and that's the thing. It's definitely not hot if we're seeing a double dip.
In
other words,
polarized views, actually, if I may
no,
say.
exactly. But the point is, if we don't get that second, that recovery, then the stock might still struggle. I don't think it's insolvent or anything like that, but you won't get any investment return. So on a double dip view, not hot.
Okay.
I like it, but I want to see the results in a month. I'm with Ashraf. Let's see how it goes. I don't think we need to be in a hurry. And they got results coming out in 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay, let's get into our guest hot stock picks. Ashraf Mohammed's hot stock pick is Impala Platinum.
Yeah, a bit contrarian. This this stock has underperformed along with Anglo Plats relative to the rest of the market. We are starting to see the benefits of higher platinum prices come through. Production volumes aren't that high because of a lack of demand, but I think we're getting to the bottom of the demand cycle for platinum as a metal, and I think there will be a gradual pickup. So it really is based on demand expectations. We had Amplats come out with results yesterday, and we saw them turn the corner. Amplats is really the swing producer in terms of the platinum price. So my view is the stock will outperform over the next 3 to 6 months.
Chris?
I funny enough, would agree with the Impala Platinum as well, because I think the investment demand in platinum is about to start soaring as well.
But you like gold, and your hot stock pick is Anglo Gold Ashanti, and it was down over 3% today, so I assume you've been accumulating.
So I thought it was actually quite a nice thing to actually do, because I think the gold shares around the world have actually lagged the gold price. Their time might be coming. Just a little more on the gold price.
Paul Turan would argue with you that the time isn't coming, but I'm glad. Okay, so you're buying Anglo Gold Ashanti.
I'd argue it is coming. Just the century, we've got to nail it down. Implats, yes. Anglo Gold Ashanti.
Fantastic. We have to. Was that a guess for Anglo Gold Ashanti?
No, it was a no.